Now we're going to be talking about PBC on CBS. It's going to be a midday card. I believe it's 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Most likely it's going to be taking place in Canada in the Bell Center. And we're going to have Adonis Stevenson, the WBC, the recognized WBC RING Magazine 175-pound champion, versus Sakio Bika. Now let's talk about it. We know who we want to see him fight. We know we want to see him fight Sergey Kovalev, or if he didn't fight Sergey Kovalev, we wanted to see him fight Jean Pascal. We were hearing rumors of a Fanfara 2. That's a fight that would sell, but Fanfara is fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I would love to see Adonis Stevenson versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but as we just said, he's booked up. So now we gotta think about, okay, what's left out there for him? And if you think about the Sakio Bika fight, personally, in my personal opinion, I got Sakio Bika winning, and also it would be a good, exciting fight. Now, if you don't know, CBS is national television in the United States, and the audience is the biggest audience as far as televised audience that Adonis Stevenson and Sakio Bika will ever have fought in front of. So I believe it's like 100 and something million households. That's not saying the ratings would be 100 and something million, but there's going to be a lot of people watching. So if Adonis Stevenson ends up losing to Sakio Bika, then he's going to be massively ridiculed. But then again, if he loses to anybody before he fought Sergey Kovalev, he would be ridiculed. So as it stands right now, if you don't know, Sergey Kovalev is going to be taking on Jean Pascal. I believe that fight's March the 14th. 2015 is going to be on HBO Championship Boxing. The winner of that will be the #1 mandatory for Adonis Stevenson's WBC 175-pound title. So what does that mean? It means that either Sakio Bika, Adonis Stevenson, Jean Pascal, or Sergey Kovalev is going to end up being the undisputed 175-pound champion of the world. What does that mean? That means you have the WBC, the Ring Magazine, the WBA, the WBA Super World, the WBO, and the IBF. And then you want to sprinkle a little IBO in there too. So it's all about what's going to happen next. Now, let's say what happens after he fights Sakio Bika. Is he going to drop his belt and then maybe fight a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or something? Or are all those guys in the 175-pound division that are Heyman fighters not going to fight for any of those belts that Sergey Kovalev had, even if they end up becoming #1 contenders? Here's the thing, because I really feel that one of those Heyman fighters, if not Adonis Stevenson, is going to have to end up going back to HBO, whether he likes it or not. He's going to have to drop his belt. Now, we saw that an Al Heyman fighter and Peter Quillen dropped his belt. So I'm thinking if a situation arose, now granted, it's not Jay-Z, but if a situation arose and, you know, Al Heyman and main event Kathy Duva, they have a little bit of a situation to where, you know, a business deal basically went sour because Al Heyman interfered in Adonis Stevenson fighting Sergey Kovalev on HBO. Lawsuit was filed. Lawsuit ended up being dropped because Bernard Hopkins fought Sergey Kovalev on HBO when he was previously fighting on Showtime. But still, I'm thinking, how can Al Heyman and Kathy Duva work together at this point in time? You know, because of what has happened in the past. Or will Al Heyman continue to work his magic to keep Adonis Stevenson from fighting on HBO? Now, of course, you have Sergey Kovalev, who's fought on NBC Sports before, and it would be very big for him or anybody who fights Adonis Stevenson for that belt, if he wins, Adonis Stevenson or Sakio Bika, to fight on CBS or NBC. Because remember, Al Heyman fighters can fight on these networks. PBC on NBC, Premier Boxing Chambers, remembers what it's called. So NBC, CBS, Spike TV, Showtime Championship Boxing, ESPN2 coming soon, BET, and maybe two more channels to be announced soon if there are. So as far as exposure is concerned, as I said in a previous video, this PBC thing is so good for boxing, but at the same time, it's all about if we're going to get the fights we want to see. But if you look at if it really matters if it's the fights we want to see or not, because for example, let's say for example Adonis Stevenson fight against Sakio Bika reaches something like 10 million homes, something old crazy like that. I'm not saying it will, but let's say if it reaches 10 million homes, and what reason would that give Al Heyman to be like, oh well, let's go after Sergey Kovalev? Because he may feel that he can match up somebody else, Adonis Stevenson versus a Chavez, Adonis Stevenson, which is a big fight. This next one I'm about to say, Adonis Stevenson versus a Lucian Bute. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, it's all like, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Because before I say he's completely good for the sport, and before I say this PBC or NBC thing is real, this PBC thing, period, Premier Boxing Champions, period thing, Heyman Boxing, Heyman Sports, whatever you're going to call it. If I'm going to say it's going to work, you know, and I feel confident in it, I want to see how he handles this HBO thing, because he's got his fighters fighting on all these different networks. I want to see how it works with this HBO thing. Like, will he start negotiating with Top Rank and HBO fighters? Simple as that. Guys like Manny Pacquiao, after Floyd Mayweather, GGG, Miguel Cotto for the time being, Timothy Bradley, you know, Ruslan Provodnikov, you know, those type fighters, Hank Lundy or something. No, Hank Lundy, he's exempt. He can fight for other with other promoters. But anyway, I'm T Street Controversy Live at RealCombatMedia.com. I cover every single major fight live. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook. All the links to my social media are right below. But if you actually want to know who I am, then all the way at the bottom of the description box is a link to my personal Facebook page. Space is filling up pretty bad. I mean, pretty fast. I only got about 200 or so spaces left. So what I got to do is, you know, I got to screen you, look at your profile, make sure you're real and everything like that. And then, you know, if I think you're cool, I'll let you in. But when you come there, all boxing news, I make sure it comes there first. And that's why a lot of my videos sometimes may be late, because I don't have to jump on every little single bit of news all quick anymore, because that shit'll be right there on my page. T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.